I'm here with the outstanding composer Unsuk Chin, whose incredible opera Alice in Wonderland, is it actually called Alice in Wonderland or just Alice?
Alice in Wonderland.
Alice in Wonderland. I was able to listen to when it was premiered in 2007 in Munich, and I was totally blown away. Then I tried to get a hold of your first violin concerto, which was equally poetic, but also technically clearly on a different level of writing, of maybe not understanding the violin, but pushing its boundaries, which is so necessary, and it has proven to change our way of, and also the level of virtuosity over the last 200, 300, 400 years, because there were composers who didn't care if the soloists would suffer, and rightfully so, because that has always brought so much development. So then, I was writing to you and asking for a piece for two fiddles, because initially, the reason for the two violins is my ensemble Mutter's Virtuosi. So I have a foundation in aid of young string players since 28 years. And I knew that my co-violinist, soloist would be Ye-Yun Choi, with whom we also then in 21 premiered Gran Cadenza. But first, the score arrived. What did you think? A
shocking moment.
Yes, quite a life-changing moment. What did you think when I asked for a piece for two fiddles? It could have been anything. Why a Gran Cadenza? What was your thought process?
First of all, I wanted to compose a piece which goes over the boundary of technical possibility.
Yes, it certainly
and I
does.
was convinced you can play it.
And you do remember when I think we met in Berlin when I'm a very shy person, and it takes a lot for me to ask a composer to rethink certain passages. So I came forward and asked you if you could rewrite certain passages, because they seem to be so naturally suited for flute. And I could hear how beautiful it could sound on a flute, and how much more difficult it would be to get that airiness on the violin. But your reaction was very clear.
I thought, she doesn't know how excellent she is. It was my my first reaction, and then I was really convinced, and you can play all the notes.
Yes, at the end we
you
could.
need a little bit time, but you will be able to play. So therefore,
you left me alone.
Just try to play.
Yeah, and in a way, it was a very interesting process, because while still keeping in mind that some of the sonorities and of the sound effects, if you want, would be at home in a flute, I tried to mimic that with the violin, and it gave us a great inspiration, because it happens very often in a big solo concerto that you have to emerge out of the solo oboe, or the flute, or the French horn when I play a theme of John Williams, which initially was for the French horn. Then I would mimic what the tempo of the French horn originally was. And so that was an inspiration, not only in terms of, learning new technical tools, and it's yet another piece, which deals with extreme heights. Something I've always loved, something which is, that at least has always come natural, because I have small hands, and I feel totally at ease in the upper register. And I'm also one of the few violinists who is using small finger. So I have all fingers on board, so to speak. But I remember when Ye-Yun and I looked at your Gran Cadenza, and that's a piece of only 8 minutes. But I tell you, long 8 minutes, if you are not yet able to master them technically and bring the musicianship and the kind of passionate dialogue, because at the end it is a dialogue.
For me, it was very important to compose a piece with a strict structure and strict technique. But on the other hand, it should sound like a kind of improvisation. So it is there are two different sides in this piece.
Yes, and then in the middle, I mean, it starts with these crazy runs in pianissimo. It's also interesting how huge the scope of dynamics is in this piece, which I love a lot, because having flautando triple piano of two violins is really very poetic. And then you have a triple fortissimo at times, and it's rageful. It is, at times it feels like it's two people who know each other very well and they kind of complete each other's sentences. And we have this choral, this only one moment, I think, of quiet, maybe reflective, and then the runs. I mean, the runs were, for me, rhythmically so complex. And you know, with two people, I don't know why, but rhythm is one thing, but two people, particularly when excited, which happens all the time when we play Gran Cadenza, your sense of movement and of speed is different in two people. And so I was the one under my long dress, you know, and a few passages tapping the rhythm just to make sure that we would not lose that kind of beautiful architecture. And if I admire anything in a great contemporary piece, then it's architecture. And your piece is so skillfully written. I mean, if played right, it just is like a Swiss, you know, Uhrwerk, wie ein Schweizer Uhrwerk. So, a masterpiece for you to enjoy. So, Gran Cadenza was premiered with you present in Regensburg in 21. And I remember poor Ye-Yun Choi, who back then still was my scholar of my foundation. We went on stage and she has this very beautiful pale face, but she was even paler and, you know, bending over to me and said, Mrs. Chin is sitting in the first row. You were just there. And I could see you. How was it for you sitting so close? Isn't that uncomfortable? And then you have to keep your poker face, you know? You cannot like,
it was a great experience because in Regensburg, I saw that the audience, it was that they were a little bit different from other audience from at other concerts. And there are up to 99% Anne-Sophie Mutter fans. And it was very, very interesting. And then I was sitting on the first row, and then I could see how you play and how your face is changing and so on. And it was a really wonderful moment because I could hear all these notes.
You saw my struggle.
But you know, I could hear all these notes, and I didn't expect it. So it was great.
I'm German, at least, you know, I can be precise. No, but we were so grateful that you came to the premiere and that we had the opportunity to touch base and then go on basically a world tour for the next 2 years with Motus Virtuosi, with 7 different fabulous violinists playing the second fiddle part in Gran Cadenza. And then there was this evening in Carnegie Hall where everything was taped as a live recording, including Gran Cadenza, with Nancy Zhou. And I remember how excited we were to go on stage and finally feeling as this piece had been under our skin, that we had lived with it. Long enough is not the right word because you never live longer, but we felt it very close, and that we felt we could really bring all our musicianship to it. All the beautiful dynamical differences, all the accents. And because if you look at the score, it's a little bit like Webern, you know. You have so many dynamical descriptions and prescriptions, and so it just takes a while for your system to adapt to that totally new and very refined language. And so in 23, that live performance in Carnegie Hall, I think it's a great document of the passion of 2 violinists for Gran Cadenza, your Gran Cadenza coming together. And I think we pretty much nailed it.
Yeah, I'm so happy.
I was excited hearing it again, and yeah, what a piece.